Hey there, welcome to the channel. My name is James, and here at 20th and 21st Movies, we are about all things cinema. Well, happy New Year to everyone out there. Hope you had a happy and safe New Year. Hope you're excited about 2023. I know I am. Hope you had a great holiday season. Another year is upon us, and I am really excited about what this year is going to hold in the world of physical media, entertainment, TV, movies. Lot going on in this year, a lot upcoming, and I'm looking forward to all of it. This month on this channel, on 20th and 21st Movies, we're going to have a lot of Criterion Collection content, starting with this video right here, the first video of 2023, where I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about spine number 1156, which is Jayro Bustamante's 2019 film, La Llorona. This is not to be confused with another film that is also out there that also has a similar title of La Llorona. It actually is called The Legend of La Llorona or The Curse of La Llorona. So this is just the 2019 film. It's listed at the top there, La Llorona from 2019, from director Jayro Bustamante, and it stars Maria Mercedes Carroy and Sabrina de la Hoz. So the 2019 Bustamante film is what is in this Criterion Collection edition, and it is an excellent film. It combines elements of political intrigue with history, real life history in Guatemala, covering or talking about the events of the civil war that took place in Guatemala from 1960 up into the early 1990s, so a 30-plus year civil war. But it also has a supernatural and ghostly element to it. So really fascinating film that I enjoyed. Of course, it comes in Spanish, Ixil, Quachiquel, and it's got English subtitles. It clocks in at 96 minutes. So I really enjoyed this film. This is a film I want to revisit. It just is one of those unique experiences, and why I love the Criterion Collection title so much is that it gives you something totally different, right? That you don't experience in a lot of like domestic, in my case, here in the United States, films. It's a foreign film from Guatemala, from a Guatemalan director, giving us a glimpse of actual history that takes place in his home country. And it brings it to life in a way that you can really get a sense of, wow, that was just absolutely horrible what happened to those people during that time, and a glimpse into history that before I saw this title I didn't even know anything about. So if you're interested in learning more about world history, or learning more about the history of different countries around the world, this is an example of a movie or a film that gives you a cinematic experience, like a horror supernatural element to it, but also tells you a little bit about history, about real history in this country. So I really enjoyed it from that perspective. In terms of the back of the case, I'll just read this. I'll read this summary on the back. It says, La Llorona, a country's bloody history stains the present in the Guatemalan auteur Jayro Bustamante's transfixing fusion of folk horror and searing political commentary inspired by the real-life indictment of the authoritarian Efrain Rios Montt for crimes against humanity. A notorious, now aging former military dictator stands trial for atrocities committed against Guatemalan's Mayan communities. While battling legal repercussions and the people's demands for justice, he and his family are plagued by a series of increasingly strange and disturbing occurrences, seemingly brought on by an enigmatic new housemaker, Maria Mercedes Carroy. With the restraint that renders the film shocks all the more potent, Bustamante crafts a chilling vision of a nation reckoning with collective harms and the restless ghost of a past that refuses to die. Really nice summary on the back of this Criterion case, and it really encapsulates what this film is about. Of course, the cast is, fantastic cast. I really enjoyed the actresses and the cast in this film. Of course, Maria Mercedes Carroy played Alma, who is one of the main characters in the film. She's the mysterious housekeeper who comes into play during the narrative. Sabrina de la Hoz plays Natalia. Margarita Caniff plays Carmen. Julio Diaz plays Enrique, the dictator, who is on trial. So those are your main characters in this movie. So essentially you have this man who's a dictator who was a former dictator. He's now standing trial for atrocities that he committed, war crimes during the Guatemalan Civil War. So you have scenes of him on trial. You do have a couple of scenes where he's in the courtroom on trial. You see the native people who are also there bearing witness to the trial. You also see most of this film taking place indoors in the mansion of this dictator, where his family is holed up, and you have protesters on the outside. And at some point in walks Maria Mercedes Coroy, who is the new housekeeper who's coming into the house. And there's mystery around who is she, what does she represent? And that's part of the narrative of this film. This film has heavy supernatural and horror elements to it. You have scenes at night where you have apparitions going through the house at different points. And the scares are delivered in a subtle, restrained way. It's not your typical like jump scare type horror type film. It's more of a meditative horror film, and I really appreciated it from that standpoint. But this is a film that I think does a beautiful job of bringing together all the elements of supernatural, horror, political intrigue in one beautifully blended story that deals with real history in Guatemala during the 1960s through the early 1990s and the aftermath and repercussions of that in the life of this family. So I think this film is absolutely fantastic from that standpoint. And it's one that I definitely want to revisit and watch again to really pick up on probably the countless things that I missed on my first viewing, but really enjoyed this film. I think it's a really nice film. In terms of the video and audio quality, this is a 2K digital master. It's a film from 2019. It looks fantastic on Blu-ray. It looks beautiful, clean. It's a new film I believe shot digitally. Let me look that up actually. I am on IMDb as we speak, and I am going to take a look at the technical specs to make sure, there's not a whole lot on here. Okay, well, it's a film from 2019 and it looks absolutely fantastic on Blu-ray. You get 5.1 DTS HD master audio. Sounds nice. So from a technical standpoint, this is a new film that I believe was likely shot digitally, and it just looks fantastic. And it looks fantastic. It sounds great. It's a nice Blu-ray. As far as the special features, it's a little bit light on features. You do get a new interview with Jayro Bustamante, which I think is an excellent interview because, he's a Guatemalan director. He talks about, coming up in Guatemala and the burden that he felt in properly dealing with the history of his country and in this fictional narrative. And I really enjoyed sort of hearing, firsthand from him, his thought process in putting this story together and how to represent the real history of his country in this like horror supernatural narrative. So I thought that was very, very, very nice. And then there's also on here a documentary on the making of the film that I thought was very well done. And that has interviews with the cast and the crew as well. So you get a trailer on here. And then on the inside, check out the inside of the case here. Very nice. And you get a nice interview, or not interview, but on the insert, you'll see here, I'm showing you the insert. You get a really nice essay from this gentleman named Francisco Goldman, who's also from Guatemala. So he shares his background as a Guatemalan and his impressions of this film and how this film was put together, and the real and the responsibility of properly treating this history in a respectful way, and how this film does a great job of that. Of course, you have cast and credits here. And let me just, in real time here, see about the master. La Llorona is presented in its original aspect ratio of 2.39:1. The film was shot on an Arri Alexa, mini camera, and completed in a fully digital workflow with a fully digital soundtrack. So yes, which is consistent with how the film looks. So I'm glad I saw that here because I wanted to make sure I'm giving you the right information. So yes, it is shot digitally, Arri Alexa cameras, fully digital workflow. It's a film from 2019. It looks great. It's a 2K digital master, and it looks fantastic in high definition. And the audio comes across really nice with the sounds and the soundscape and with the supernatural horror elements. I think Jayro Bustamante did a nice job of treating that in a sort of a restrained way. So this is not a horror film that has a lot of jump scares, or it's not really going for that. It's really more of a subtle, restrained approach to horror that I really appreciated. But Jayro Bustamante's La Llorona from 2019 definitely comes recommended. Again, if you're interested in learning about world history, learning a little bit more about, an area of the world that you might not be familiar with. In this case, this is Guatemala, Central America, the 32 plus year civil war that took place from 1960 through the early 1990s and the devastating impacts that had on people. This is a fictional narrative that deals with that, with some horror and supernatural elements, and I think it does it in a really interesting way. So if you're interested in something like that, definitely give La Llorona a spin. This is a fascinating film, and it definitely comes recommended. The features are a little bit light, but you do get enough on here, hearing from Jayro Bustamante himself with that nice interview and seeing the making of, that it gives you an appreciation for that history of the Guatemalan Civil War. It's not fully comprehensive, but it gives you enough for you to at least have an idea of what was going on during that time and the horrible things that happened and the effect that has had on Guatemalan society ever since. So definitely recommend this title, and comes highly recommended. But let me know in the comment section below, what do you think about La Llorona? Have you seen it? If so, let me know what you think about it, and let me know what titles from the Criterion Collection you are excited about picking up in the month of January, February, or March, in this first quarter of the year that is off to a nice start. Hope you all have a great rest of your day, and we'll be speaking to you next time at the movies. Happy New Year again, everybody. Peace.